Hi guys, this is Klazart bringing another audio commentary, and this time I'm commentating on the OSL Group A Set 5 matchup between Jaedong and Best, and boy, what a big matchup this is. This has so many implications. Vital for both players, obviously, that they win this match. Jaedong starting up at the 12 o'clock base and Best at the 6 o'clock base. It's important to point out that this is a map with only 3 spawn points, and this is Demon's Forest, a map that is due to be expunged from the from both the MSL and well, actually it's not in the MSL, from the OSL, and this is the second last matchup that will actually be played on this map. I haven't actually seen any matches on this map before, so I'm going into this a little bit blind, so bear with me in that regard. But nevertheless, I expect to see some exciting play from Jaedong, especially considering his performances of late. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but those of you who haven't seen it should really make an effort to go and check out Jaedong versus Luxury that was played yesterday. Moletrap has done a commentary on it, or if you prefer the Korean version, you can check it out on John747's account. So whatever said and done, please do check out that match. It was an amazing match, and I'm really looking forward to this game between these two guys. Best having had the best of Savior, unfortunately, although I have to feel that Savior really did himself in that game as opposed to Best playing brilliantly. Best is starting up his pylon and his gateway in his base before venturing out to scout, and obviously this being a map with relatively fewer spawn points makes it easier for the Protoss player to get his scout off. Jaedong has started up. Jaedong, interestingly, has started off with a spawning pool and an extractor. So Jaedong is actually going for looks like perhaps fast Zerglings or a fast tech build. I would have thought he would have fast expanded, but again, it might perhaps be a result of the map as opposed to anything else, because I haven't seen this map before. I think it's a good thing that he has gone for that spawning pool and for the extractor, because he's going to then be able to cope with that early gateway that's been an early Zealot sent down his way by Best. And Jaedong actually has gone for a 9-pool build, so he's really committing himself, and he's straight away mining the gas. So it looks like he is definitely going to take speed upgraded Zerglings faster, quickly, and it's going to be up to Best to be able to defend this. The problem for Jaedong obviously is that his strategy has been scouted. It is very much an all-in strategy. The spawning pool is up. Jaedong is building his first 6 Zerglings, and really once those Zerglings, once this build is scouted, I think it'd be very easy for Best to simply block his ramp with a couple of Zealots and not worry too much about it, especially considering the fact that he built a gateway first, and that indeed looks like what he's going to be doing. He's already produced 1 Zealot, and I'm sure he'll have a second one on the ramp by the time Jaedong's Zerglings get around. And then Jaedong looks like he's actually deciding to go after the probe, so Jaedong is going to have to vary his strategy. We saw this kind of similar game on Blue Storm between Cal and I think it was Quan Ro, and on that occasion, obviously, Quan Ro completely committing himself to the strategy and then not being able to make it work. Jaedong actually sending a drone back towards the north, towards the 12 o'clock position. Again, I'm not very familiar with this map, so I'm not sure what the purpose of it was, but that entrance is blocked, so Jaedong is not going to be able to rush, even though he committed himself to that strategy. I think it'll be best for him to basically now just go to lair instead of trying to get speed upgraded Zerglings and try and get a tech lead over his opponent, and really I think Jaedong is going to have a hard time in this game now. A few people suggested that Jaedong might throw, and Jaedong is indeed technically rare. A few people suggested that Jaedong might want to throw this game to get rid of Savior in the competition, and Best just putting a pylon down just towards the western corner of this base. I suspect that's to try and hide his tech from Jaedong scouting, and maybe he wants to try and get Dark Templar, or at the very least not let Jaedong know whether he is going for Templar or whether he's going for Reavers. And Best has got now 3 Zealots blocking that ram. There's no way in for Jaedong's Zerglings, so unfortunately for Jaedong, Best scouted in the right direction straight away and was very aware of what he was doing, and the fact that Best's choice of strategy. And really, on a map like Demon's Forest, I think a gateway starting up for Protoss is pretty expected because of the fact, again of the ease of scouting and I think the difficulty. And Best is actually putting his robotics facility down in the middle of the map, and I wouldn't be surprised now to see him hiding a Templar Archives at the corner, at his corner of the map, where he's put that second pylon down. Jaedong putting up the Hydrus gen, so Jaedong is going to be really committed to an early push here. Looks like he might be going for that a lurker push, which is something we saw on a previous game with Zerg versus Terran, Zerg versus Protoss on Katrina, I believe it was. I don't think it was actually Jaedong on that occasion. Best has actually got a Dragoon out as well. But as I was saying, I don't buy this stuff about people suggesting that Jaedong might actually want to throw the game to get rid of Savior, because the fact of the matter is that Jaedong needs to win this game to be assured of qualification through to the next round. He needs to win this game, go 3-0 up, and be guaranteed to qualify the next round. Because if he doesn't win the game, and therefore making his tally 2-1. Best wins this game, that makes him 2-1. If then C defeats Xavier, that could result in a 3-way tie. And obviously, despite my belief in Xavier and despite my hoping for a victory from Xavier, and interesting enough, Best is putting down a couple more gateways, so I haven't seen him put down a further tech building, a robotic support bay, or a Templar archives. And I think this is going to actually play right into Jaedong's hands, because Jaedong is getting those, pumping out those hide lists. The problem for Jaedong is he's just playing from one hatchery, and really, this is completely all in by Jaedong, playing only from the one hatchery. He needs to keep those hide lists back, he needs to hide them. I think he does have a chance of getting it up there. Obviously, once the Reaver is out, he's not going to have a chance against his opponent. And I think the fact that Best hasn't gone for a higher tech, he has actually got the robotic support bay down, he's got a shuttle out as well. So with the robotic support bay and the shuttle, he's going to have a Reaver out in no time. So really, Jaedong needs to go now or never, and if Jaedong doesn't do anything, this is going to be curtains. Jaedong is actually going for lurker tech. I suppose the one advantage is that I haven't seen an observatory for Best, so Jaedong still might have a chance. I thought that pylon at the bottom of his base would have been a good place to hide his tech, but obviously he's decided not to do it. The other thing is that Best has not put down a Stargate. At least I've not seen him put down a Stargate, so that allows him to get that Reaver down that little bit quicker. He's actually managed to get the probe into Jaedong's base though, and Jaedong's base is scouted, so Best is going to be aware of what Jaedong's going to do. He's going to see the hydra stand, he's going to see the lair, he's not going to see spars, so he's going to know the lurkers are coming. So Jaedong now is going to try and get up that ramp with those lurkers. Those zealots are obviously in hold position, so Jaedong is going to actually be able to move up that ramp. Best obviously does not have anything scouted, he does not have a forge, neither does he have and the Reaver is going to get a shot off on those lurkers. Those lurkers need to get burrowed before they take any more damage from the Reaver. The second Reaver shot gets absorbed by the Zerglings, and now Jaedong is actually in the middle line. He's actually targeting that observatory. He's actually got that target on the observatory. I think Best might have had a chance to queue up at least a single observer, and obviously when that observer comes out, that's gonna make a difference to the game. And Best now basically needs to focus on stopping Jaedong from getting any more units into his base. Meanwhile, his economy is thwarted. Jaedong now trying to get a lurker planted on the other side. Brilliant, but Jaedong has actually managed to get a lurker now also planted despite taking some damage, and Best is now not having any economy at all. He's not mining at all, and Jaedong uses the opportunity to move his lurker, move another lurker, and this time it looks like he's actually managed to kill two of the lurkers out. I don't know if there was an observer involved, but two of Jaedong, and there is an observer out for Best. So unfortunately for Jaedong, Best managed to queue one observer up in his robotics facility before that robotic support bay got taken down. Jaedong though completely committed. The problem for Jaedong of course is that he is fighting with the lone hatchery, but he is really giving it to Best. He's managed to take out that pylon back onto the gateway. He's putting a second hatchery down on his main. Best meanwhile is going for the drop with the Reaver. Best doing a good job of fighting back against Jaedong, and now that Reaver pummeling Jaedong's drones, it does look like Best is actually going to take this game, and this is going to be horrible because this is going to put Xavier out of the competition, and really I just cannot believe what has happened here. Jaedong really with cavalier play. I still refuse to believe, and this is it, Jaedong's drones are gone. Jaedong really fought there, but I refuse to believe that Jaedong threw this game away to try and kick Xavier out of the competition, and this is really disappointing play from Jaedong. I have to say I feel very disappointed. Obviously Xavier will not be interested in throwing the game against C because it doesn't affect him either way. He is now definitely out of the OSL, and that is very sad for Xavier fans and for StarCraft fans in general. Luckily for us, we will see him in the Gomstar Invitational Tournament coming up in about 2 weeks' time, in mid-late February, but this has just been ridiculous by Jaedong, committing himself with an all-in strategy, having his strategy exposed. You've got to give credit to Best for getting that observatory down and getting that observer out just in the nick of time. Obviously, once he scouted Jaedong's base, he knew what was coming, and he straight away plonked that observatory down, and the fact that he did not put a Stargate down, did not try to get Corsairs, made a huge difference to the strategy, because had he chosen to put that Stargate down, it would have changed the course of the game entirely, and Jaedong doesn't look too happy about that, so I'm going to have to say Jaedong just erred on that one, and really he's left himself open here. The reigning OSL champion has left himself open here to a tiebreaker, and assuming C can beat Xavier, but if C goes down to Xavier, then Jaedong and Best will be through, so I think that's probably a safe assumption, considering that Xavier now has absolutely no motivation to practice for this tournament anymore. I don't think Xavier has any motivation to practice for his matchup versus Xavier, because as it is, he's not going to be going through. At best he can get a consolation victory, but nevertheless, crazy game. Shocking to see Jaedong with that play, and yet you've got to give it to him. Despite his position, he almost managed to pull out what would have been an impossible victory under the circumstances. Best holding his nerve, holding his form, and looks like SK Team 1 finally have a Protoss called their own. and he's starting. This guy is starting to look more and more like a decent prospect for Protoss fans, with the obviously lacking form of Bisu and Stork at this point in time. So this is Klazart, guys. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that game. Horribly disappointing for me as a Savior fan, but them's the breaks, and a good game of StarCraft nevertheless. Innovative play, to say the least, from both players. Thanks for listening. This is Klazart.